What shall we talk about? Last time we met here, I think we were talking about whether the brain, which generally deteriorates, whether it can be kept young. We went into that somewhat explicitly. And what would you like to talk about this morning?
Can we look at the role of thought in relationship?
Role of thought in relationship.
Krishnaji, a group of students wanted to talk about death.
Death. On a lovely morning, yes? Do you want to talk about death?
Yes.
Huh? Two voices? Is there all really? You want to talk about death? Or relationship in, a thought in relationship? What place has thought in relationship? Or perhaps we can include all the death and relationship. What is mediocrity? Would you like to talk about that? Would you like to talk about that? What is mediocrity to you? To be mediocre.
Well, the word means to go half the hill.
Up the hill, yes. The meaning of that word is to go halfway up the hill and never go to the top of the hill. That's the root meaning of that word. Now, what do you think is mediocre? To be mediocre. There are great technologists, scientists, literary people, highly intellectual, extraordinarily capable. Would you consider them mediocre, such people?
In their respective fields, they are not.
Huh?
In their fields, they are not.
In other fields, they are not.
No, in their fields, they are not mediocre.
In their fields, they are not mediocre. Why do you separate their field and their life?
Well, another part of life, they may be mediocre. Such as
I may be a great scientist, and yet my life may be very mediocre. Right? So what do you think constitutes mediocrity?
Not excellent.
Be what?
Not excellent.
No. I may be a great philosopher, well known, extraordinarily clever in my expression, intricate in my thought, and yet I may live a very narrow life, daily life, right? Would you call such a person mediocre? A man of great philosophy, and yet live in daily life a mediocre life. So let's find out what it means to be a mediocre, right? As been pointed out, the origin of that word is never going to the top of the hill, but only up the halfway, which means never excellent, but semi-excellent, right? If I lead a life of jealousy, and I'm a great philosopher, suppose I am, and I'm jealous, get angry, my personal thoughts is rather limited, right? My outlook, though philosophically may be great, but my daily life I'm frightened, right? So would you call such a person mediocre? I may be a great technocrat, that's a great technician, and yet I'm ambitious, rather crude, vulgar, you know, all the rest of it. Would you call that person mediocre?
Krishnji, I don't think I could, because I don't think I'm any better than he is.
Yes. So I'm asking you, what to you is mediocrity?
It's not caring about what you're doing, your actions. It's not caring about your actions, what
Yes.
you do.
Would you call a person non-mediocre who lives not only in the area of science excellently, but also in one's daily activities and daily thoughts, in my relationship to another? Would you consider a person non-mediocre, not mediocre, who is whole?
That person is not mediocre.
Huh?
That person is not mediocre.
Yeah, so are you?
No. Oh, yes, I am.
Sorry, I'm not being personal, sir. I'm just asking. So how will you stop being mediocre? Don't apply it to somebody else. I'm asking myself. I realize I'm mediocre. That is, I'm fragmented, you understand? I'm a great scientist and yet rather shoddy in my relationship, right? And I wouldn't call such a person, I would call such a person mediocre, right? Excellent in one direction and not excellent in another. Am I such a person? Apply it to yourself. Are you? And if one realizes that one is mediocre, what will you do about it? Just accept that you're mediocre and go along for the rest of your life? what is your action, what's your behavior, what's your way of life, if it is mediocre, and you don't, will you accept it and go along that way, or find out how to break that mediocrity. Go on. What will you do?
Oh, you'd see where it lead to. Mediocrity.
Huh?
You would see where mediocrity would lead to.
What will you do about it? Suppose I realize I'm mediocre. I have no taste. You know what taste is? Good taste. In clothes, in pictures, in everything I do, I have no taste. Suppose. And I accept that as my way of life. I don't want to be criticized about my lack of taste. I think I have a very good taste. But actually I haven't. Right? And you come along and as a friend you say, look, you haven't quite good taste. Oh boy, what will you do about it? What can I do? I'm asking you, think it out. It's not me. I'm asking you. What will you do? What's your response when you find that one's daily life is rather ugly? Lack of taste, lack of manners, lack of good behavior and so on. What will you do? Just accept it and say that's way of, I like to live that way. That is, to be contented, happy with what you are, with what you have got. Will you accept all that? Or will you bring about, break down the whole thing? Would you answer? You're all very quiet this morning.
I think, Krishnaji, I think one tries to change then.
Have you? Forgive me, I'm not being personal.
Yes. I don't know if the means I use lead me anywhere. But
so this is a rather important question because as the first question was raised, what is the
role?
What is the place, the role of thought in relationship? And if that role, if thought is merely rather a shadow, concern with oneself, and limited in its outlook and activity, it is very, very destructive in relationship, right? And that's what most 99% of the people live that way. The vast majority of humanity live that way. So, if one realizes the activity of mediocrity, how can I end that? First of all, I would be horrified to find myself mediocre. Are you?
I think maybe the reasons why we want to get rid of that mediocrity is the mediocrity itself, that you are afraid to be mediocre. I think maybe the motives why we want to get rid of our mediocrity is that we are afraid, or that we want to be something big and something real good.
No, sir. I hear you say this to me, that I'm a mediocre. I realize I'm mediocre. Do I want to remain in that state? Because it's very comfortable. I don't have to do anything, right? I just go along for the rest of my life. But if I realize that mediocrity is rather absurd, rather ugly, what am I to do? Answer that question, sir.
Well, if I find that I'm mediocre, how can I do anything?
No, why not?
Well, I'm mediocre. That is going halfway up the hill. If I can go only halfway up the hill.
Go up the rest of the way up the hill.
Well, how
If
can
you
I?
can go halfway, go up the rest. Don't say, how can I? You see, that statement, how can I, already limits you.
And that is mediocrity.
That is mediocrity. Are we like that? How can I? I haven't got the strength, I am lazy, I am so many other things to do. I would like to be like the rest, but I can't. You follow? All the excuses, reasons, logical and illogical, that keeps me halfway up the hill. What will you do? How will you gather energy to go up to the top of the hill? Come on, say it.
Well, there must be some actions that lead to mediocrity. Must be some actions that lead to mediocrity.
Yes, I'm asking
By
you.
saying that,
I
you're-
realize I'm halfway up the hill.
Yeah.
And I find a great many excuses to remain there. Do you find that's happening to you? Great many excuses. Perhaps some of them right or necessary, others just imaginative, to prevent you from going to the top of the hill. Now, seeing that, what will you do?
So doesn't making that change imply a certain amount of effort, which often causes you to be very frustrated perhaps, or feel as though you're in conflict to try and change that mediocrity? If you feel that obviously there's something wrong in your life and you want to improve on it, often it requires, or often it means that there's conflict, because one part of you is perfectly happy with it and the other part is wishing that you were a little bit better.
Yes, sir, but what will you do at the end of it? You've given some reasons for mediocrity, for being mediocre, and one stops there, right? What will push you up the hill? Let's put it so directly. What will urge you or push you or Or do you need somebody to push you up the hill? Or do you want telesiège to push you up? You know what telesiège is?
No.
You know, in Switzerland, and I'm sure they are here too, in different parts of the world, to reach to the top of the hill, they have electrical chairs hung on cables. When they ski, they go right up and then zero down. And that, you can do that too, but that's so who will push you? Yes, sir. An ideal? Desire?
That can do it.
Huh?
That can do it.
Go into yourself, slowly, step by step, find out. Do you need another person to push you up?
Not necessarily.
No, don't say not necessarily. Do you need it to go up to the top of a hill? Not actual hill, but you understand? Mediocre, we said, is a person who goes halfway up the hill. That's only a metaphor, a simile. But actually, human beings always go a little way in themselves, right? Not in the world of technology, in the world of business, in the world of science and so on. They go there to their utmost, right? But when it comes to their own lives, they move inch by inch, or not move at all, right? And they never demand of themselves or of excellence, right? So I'm asking, when you are in that state, do you need somebody to push you, to drive you, to reward you, or to punish you?
If we do, then we're staying mediocre.
Yeah. So, just listen to it, that is, reward and punishment, any action taken because there is reward or there is punishment, that is one of the essence of mediocrity. Would you consider that? You heard what I said? If I want to go up the hill because I shall have a reward, or I will be punished, that is mediocrity. That's what all the people in the world, whether kings or lords or great priests or anything, they depend on reward and punishment. Right? The reward may be power, the reward may be money, the reward may be reputation, the reward may be a sense of achievement. You understand? So if you do for any reward, which means you don't want to be punished, that is a quality of a mind that's mediocre. You are climbing the top of the hill in order to gain a reward. It's like, right?
Well, you don't want to be punished.
Huh?
You don't want to be punished, then, do you?
Or because you're going to be punished, you go to the top of the hill.
Right.
So, mediocrity is it depends on reward and punishment. Would you see that? Huh? Are we like that? Each one of us. I do something because I'm going to gain something. That's a reward. Or I do something because I may be punished. Right? So I depend for my action on reward or punishment. And we say that is the very nature of mediocrity. Right? Are we like that, each one of us?
Sounds like you're describing my early school days.
I'm asking you, sir, now, are we like that, each one of us? Depending on reward and punishment. This is a very serious question, because some of the psychologists are advocating reward. I wonder if you understand all this. Because man has always been punished. If you don't do this, I'll punish you. In religion, especially in some part of Christianity, is if you don't believe that, I'm going to torture you. Right? So I say, yes, I believe that. So is your action based on reward and punishment? Now, this is a very good question. Go on, sir. Examine it carefully.
So if you act because you reject something, in other words, you see that you are mediocre and you reject that mediocrity.
You can't reject mediocrity.
Why not?
Because you don't understand the nature of mediocrity.
Well, perhaps you do. In other words, you recognize, you become aware of mediocrity in yourself, and you reject that mediocrity.
Yes, but it may be very superficial rejection.
Well, let's assume that it isn't, because
No, don't let's assume anything if you don't mind. Actually, I find myself that I depend on reward and punishment for my action. Suppose I do. And you come along and say, look, that's the very nature of mediocrity. Right? And I see that's so. Then what takes place then? Do you understand my question? Do you see the truth that any action based on reward and punishment is very, very shallow, mediocre, rather absurd? Do you see that?
Yes.
I go to the church in order some image may help me to do something, get over my pain. I worship God because I'm frightened. You understand? And that worship is mediocre worship. Would you agree to that? Huh? Don't be so startled or blank. What do you say to all this? So is there an action that is not based on reward and punishment? Wouldn't you ask that question?
I think that's very much related to freedom, because with not being dependent, you are depending on either reward or punishment, if your actions depend on that.
Has it any value, that statement, to you personally? That reward and punishment is not worthwhile? You see, do we move away from the responsibility of understanding that question? So that I say others are mediocre, but I'm not. Or do you say, look, let me look at this. Am I acting, thinking, is my motive based on reward and punishment? That's one of the aspects of mediocrity, right? We can go into others first. Do I understand that? And can I act without any reward or punishment? See what's implied in it. If I act without reward and punishment, I am not jealous anymore. I have no envy anymore. Right? Do you see that? All right. Let's look at the other way. Are you jealous? Huh? Are we jealous? The great silence. Does that mean we are? Huh? Be simple, so if we are. Let's be honest and look at it. The grown-ups as well as us. I mean, not us. We're all jealous, aren't we? Mm-hmm. What does that mean? To be envious.
It means that if I see John has a Porsche,
No.
I say,
Look, find out the feeling of envy.
the feeling of having nothing
And the other fellow,
has something.
so the feeling of it. What's your feeling when you are envious?
Greed.
Someone said greed.
No, that's another word. I'm asking, what is the feeling when this word is used to convey that feeling? The feeling. When you see somebody having a car and you have not it, I'm asking, what is that feeling? Somebody has a great deal of money, great house, lovely pictures and so on. And you look at it and say, my God. Does it happen to you? Or you're all saints? Does it happen to you? Yes? Would you call that mediocre? Understand the nature of it, because there is also involved reward, right? And punishment may be envy. You understand? Now stick to it. You have this feeling, haven't you? Huh? Come on, sir. Yes? Good. Now, why do you remain with it?
Sorry, I couldn't hear that.
Huh?
I couldn't hear what you said.
They said yes, all of you are envious, obviously. No?
Yes.
Why are you so sad? If I say about how beautiful you are, you will wake up. Now, look at it carefully. Envy, that feeling and that word, is associated with punishment. Right? One should not be envious. It's awful to be openly envious. But secretly, secretively, to be envious is all right. You understand? But you see, yes, I'm envious of you. You understand? No, this is true. Go into it. We are all envious. There's a common factor of all human beings, right? Right? Right, sir?
Yes.
And we are envious, each one of us. Would you call that mediocre to be envious of somebody? We are not what we are, but we like to be like you. You understand? I am dissatisfied with what I am, but I would like to be like you, who are bright, intelligent, intellectual, clever, beautiful, blah, blah, all that. Huh? That is, I am nothing, but you are everything. You understand that?
Christian G, I'm envious, but if I then say that's mediocrity, in fact I'm avoiding the fact that I'm envious.
Yes, I'm coming to that. I'm envious. I won't even call it mediocrity for the moment. I'm envious, as most people are in the world. Not in the world only, but here. Are we aware that of the meaning of that word, how it arises? What are the consequences of envy? Are we aware of the feeling and the content of that word? All right. I am envious. Fortunately, I've never been, but I suppose I am. I'm envious of you. What does that mean?
Well, first of all, it means that you are unhappy with what you have and what you are.
Yes. I'm dissatisfied with what I have. Physically, I'm dissatisfied with what I have. Because my house or my flat is just very small, a couple of rooms, and here I see a house with a dozen rooms and lovely garden. And I feel, my God, I wish I had that. Right? Which means what? Go into it, my friend. Go into it.
You're comparing.
Huh?
You're comparing.
Comparing. You are comparing.
Not only comparing, but before I compare, I don't want to use the word, look at it carefully. I am dull man, right? And you are very bright. Huh? I want to be like you. Which means I'm denying what I am, right? But I would like to be like you. Right? I am denying what I am. Are you doing that? Oh, come on, sir.
Yes, I think one does that.
Huh?
Yes, I think one.
Do you agree to that? Huh? I deny what is. So I must be what should be. Right? I deny that I am poor, that I am a small house, and I want to be like that. Huh? So there is not only comparison, but the feeling that I am dissatisfied with what I am, what I have, and pursue satisfaction.
I also have an image of what it's like to be you, sir.
What?
I also have an idea of what it's like to be you.
How can you be like me?
Well, if you have a big house, I assume that by having a big house, you are in some way better or bigger.
I may be as cuckoo as you.
Exactly.
I may be as mediocre as the man who envies me. Right? I wonder if you're catching on to all this. Are you?
Sir, the thing is that it's much easier to compare myself with another than to say, all right, this is what I am and I have to face my
That's all
problems.
I'm saying. Begin with that. You understand? Begin with what you are and see what you are. And don't compare and say, I'm like that. I wish I had that man's wealth, or his looks, or his intelligence. You understand? Look, by comparison, I make myself dull, right? You're bright, I am not, right? By comparing myself with you who are bright, I make myself dull. Right? But if I don't compare, what happens? Am I dull? Huh? Do answer me that question carefully.
Then you're just what you are.
No, don't say that. Actually, is that what you say? What you feel? If you don't compare yourself with a man who is terribly alive, terribly intelligent, if you don't compare, what are you? Are you dull? Huh?
I may be dull, yes.
Yeah.
Huh?
I may or may not be dull.
Does comparison make you dull? Or you are dull?
Oh, I am dull.
How do you know?
Well,
Careful, go slowly into it.
I have an image of myself.
No, sir, no. Are you dull because you compare yourself with another who is not dull? If you don't compare, are you dull?
No.
You are what you are.
Yeah.
Begin with that. Without comparing. You understand my question? I compare myself with you, and therefore I feel I am dull. If I don't compare, I say, I don't know what dullness is. So I start from there. That's my basis. That's my foundation. Right? Will you do that? Therefore, don't compare. You understand what I'm saying? Oh, for God's, come on, sirs. We started out by asking, what is mediocrity? The root meaning of that word is going halfway up the hill, both physically and psychologically, right? That means never be demanding of ourselves excellence. Right?
In all areas of
In
life.
all areas. Physically, technologically, and inwardly. Excellent. Excellent behavior. Excellent so on. And we say, as long as you remain halfway up the hill, never demanding of yourself the highest, that is in itself the essence of mediocrity. Right? Right? Is this clear? Are you?
Could you repeat that, please? I just...
You're somewhere else. I'll repeat it. We say the meaning of that word, halfway up the hill. We never ask of ourselves, demand of ourselves, to be supreme. Supreme in the world of technology, in that field, and also inwardly. Understand? That means supreme excellence means never jealousy. Jealousies, right? 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 Do you understand?
Yes.
Will you demand? Will you see that you're not jealous? If you are, you're not asking of yourself the highest.
Aren't such words as highest,
No,
supreme, and excellence compared to
Highest, I know that's a difficult word. All these words are difficult. But highest means in excellence, to be at the top of your demand. I demand that that I should not be jealous. I demand it. And I see, why shouldn't I? What are the causes of jealousy, envy, and so on, and finish with it. But to keep on for the rest of your life being jealous, envious, that is very mediocre. You understand? Right? Now, are you doing that? Asking of yourself to be excellent, to be in everything, not just in one direction. If you're doing gardening, excellent. Right? If you are working in the scientific world, to be excellent. And if you are saying, well, I must understand myself, what I am, what I should avoid, be a supreme. Right? Are you like that? If you are not, don't condemn it by calling it mediocre. You understand? If you are not asking of yourself the higher, in quotes.
If I am not.
If you are not, don't condemn it by saying I am mediocre. Then ask why you are not. You understand? But if you condemn that, oh, that is mediocrity, you could just condemn it. But if you say, all right, why am I not asking of myself inwardly the highest, the highest. I'm using that word for the moment with certain hesitation.
Well, I'm not asking because I am mediocre.
No, then you are condemning it. You're missing.
he thinks that because he has once seen himself as being mediocre, that means that he is forever in that state.
Yes. If I find myself I'm mediocre after hearing all this morning's verbal exchange, and I see I'm mediocre, I say, God, why am I like that? Huh? What is the reason of it? I don't accept mediocrity. You understand? I say, why am I like that? Am I comparing myself to somebody who is not mediocre? If I am, I'm jealous of him. My comparison is one of the factors of jealousy. Right? Anyway, right? So I won't compare.
It's, if you realize that you're mediocre, your truth is a comparison to something that chooses the word mediocrity, and some other potential there.
Very unfortunate.
It may not be somebody else, but it's some value.
Unfortunately, most of us don't realize we are mediocre.
Well, in order to realize it, don't we have to see that scale or something?
There is no scale. That's what I'm saying.
You said halfway up. You said it's partial. It isn't all the way.
There is no scale. As long as you have a scale, better and better and this and that, that is mediocrity.
No, I forgot it. And so how do you determine you're mediocre? You don't see the scale.
I'm going into it. How do I realize I'm mediocre? That's what Mrs. Imbalis is asking. How do you realize? Huh? Come on.
Without comparison.
Well, you see that you are not responding to something fully.
Yes. That's one of the factors, isn't it? That in your relationship with another, you are not what? Responding fully? What does that mean?
You think in one way and you act in a different way?
No, sir. He said that when you respond fully, completely, harmoniously, that state has no, it's not a state of mediocrity, right? Right? What does that mean, respond fully?
That you're totally attentive?
Huh?
That you're completely attentive to the other person?
What does it mean to you to respond completely?
Well, it might mean that your response is not of a fragment and therefore it's not divisive.
Huh?
It might mean that your response is not from a fragment and therefore it's not divisive.
So, how do you know that you are not acting from a fragment?
Well, I think one knows one acts from.
That's what I want to find out, sir. How do you know? First of all, begin again. Do you realize we're fragmented? Huh?
Yes.
Yes? Realized actually that you're different persons. Right? When you meet somebody who is wealthy, powerful, there is a different response to that, right? Right? When you meet somebody who is not, there is a different response. So that is fragmentation, when there is a response to a power which is different, and the response to poverty is quite different, right? You understand what I'm saying? Right? Are you like that?
Yes.
Which means you are fragmented, isn't it? Right? Responding in one way and responding in another way shows that you are broken up. No? So can you respond, whether to wealth, poverty, to a priest, and so on, so on, so on, respond. Without variations.
Our response might be various according to circumstance, but
Therefore, it means what?
I mean, it might be appropriately different.
Not necessarily. Why do you appropriately different? Why should I respond differently to the Pope?
I don't mean in the sense of respect for powers.
No, I'm asking you. Break it up. Respond in one way to the Pope, one way to the Prime Minister, one way to the General, one way to a poor man, right? And so on. Different responses. They're not adequate. Because in me, power is more important than poverty, right? Therefore, I respond differently to money, position, authority. And I have no response to a man who owes nothing. I say, right? I wonder if you are understanding.
Sir, it seems to me that this you're talking about now, it has something to do with the feeling of respect we were talking about the other day.
Yes, we were talking about respect. Don't bring that in for the moment. Sadhu, how can I convey to you a sense that a life in which there is no comparison and therefore no envy, right? And therefore seeing things as they are in you and change that, not try to become the other. You understand what I'm saying? No. Suppose, sir, I'm a poor, fairly well-educated man, and I see you highly educated, right? Sophisticated, having everything that you need, and I haven't got all that. I'm envious of you. I want all that you have too. I would like to have that, right? Now, I see where it's going to lead me when I compare myself with you. Do you see that? Do you see where it will lead me? It will lead me to conflict with you, jealous of you, denying myself, denying what I am, dissatisfied with what I am, right? All that takes place when I want to be like you, right? Which is a series of conflicts, right? Now, look at it around the other way. I don't compare myself with you at all. I am what I am, right? I have a flat or one room, and I am not dull. I am what I am, right? I am not dull. Dullness exists only when I compare myself with you. Do you agree to that? So, I am not dull. I am what I am. That is the basis from which I start. The other is fictitious. I don't admit.
Is the comparison the most destructive when it's between people? Say I realize I am ignorant. I'm ignorant about physics. Now, I'm picking just something neutral and obvious. I know I'm ignorant about physics. I'm not saying I know more than Katie or less than Katie. I just say I'm ignorant about physics. Now, there is a comparative statement in there. I don't know physics. Is that comparison?
Yes, surely. Last night, did you hear Naipaul being interviewed by Levin? Yes? You know who is Naipaul? He is a great, well-known writer. Tremendously well-known. And he was being interviewed by Bernard Levin. You know who Bernard Levin is? He was here. He interviewed this person. And I watched it for about 20 minutes. But Naipaul is very, very clever, highly intellectual, traveled all over the world, written innumerable books, rewarded. And he talked about his childhood, his youth, and he didn't like his youth. And then, you follow? Now I listened to him. He's very famous. And I'm not. Suppose I'm not. I don't want to be famous. But did any feeling of envy arise in me? You understand my question? Oh, come on, sir.
That is again person to person.
I'm coming to that. I want to stick to person.
So comparison in different qualities is not an issue.
I understand all that, Maria. I'm asking you, when you see a beautiful actress or a beautiful actor, do you have a feeling, Joe, I like to be like that?
Yes. Yes, it seems to have become a mechanical response that as soon as you see it, you already have the drive.
So, that feeling exists, right? What do you, is that fragmentary? Of course it is. I see somebody in top hat walking down, going down to Ascot and play, you know, all that stuff. And I'm a cook. Huh? You know all these feelings, don't you? And the whole world is like this, you understand? Whether you go to India, whether you go to China, whether you go to Russia, everywhere it is the same phenomenon. Everybody jealous of each other, right? Have you not? Don't you know this?
Everybody.
Huh?
How can you say everybody?
So there are exceptions, all right. My grandmother and my father were exceptions. But see, why can't you be exception? To remain not exceptional is mediocre. I go to a house and I see beautiful furniture, lovely carpet, marvelous pictures. Personally, I have no feeling of that kind at all. It doesn't mean anything to me. I have no feeling of, oh God, I wish I had that. Because I've treated myself as a guest wherever I am. I feel I'm a guest on the world, guest on this earth, therefore I'm a guest. You follow? It's very simple. You understand what I'm saying? Will you be like that?
Well, if I be...
Never allow a feeling of being jealous, envious, because that means it's so stupid. It means I have no foundation from which I start. You understand? That's why I get confused, I struggle, all that. If I say I am what I am, right? I may be dull, I may be stupid, I may be this or that. That is what I am. Right? That's the foundation on which you build a house. But if you're always comparing with yourself with somebody, your foundation is very weak. No foundation. You can't build a house on it. You understand? So, to have a clarity, to have a foundation that is stable, constant, that is not breaking up, changing, that foundation can only exist as long as you are what you are, and from there move. Right? So, comparison, jealousy is out. If that exists, you're going to be constantly uncertain, weary, struggling to be something. You follow? You will be something if you start from what you are. If you want to be something. Now you raised a question, what role has thought in relationship? You raised it. You answer that question. What role, what place has thought in relationship? You understand? Role, part, thought, relationship. Now what is relationship? Actual. Don't idealize it or imagine it or say it should be, but actually what is it?
When you and I are in direct contact with each other.
No, I'm asking, sir. You say relationship is, or you, when there is direct contact. Huh? Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Physical contact?
Not only that.
Sexual contact?
All of it.
Wait, don't go all of it. I don't know what you mean by all of it. Begin slowly, step by step. when you say relationship is to be in complete contact with another, do you mean physically? Huh? Huh? You say yes?
Why?
Huh?
Well, I don't know why he says that.
He said so. I'm asking why.
There are plenty of people that I have a relationship to, perhaps, but who I don't have intimate physical contact.
Wait. I want to find out what is it to be related.
Oh no, I didn't mean. Not
No,
necessarily.
stick to what you said, sir.
Yeah.
Stick to what you said. There is not in it. Don't be bamboozled by others. Stick to what you have said. To be complete, that is real fact. But we are not. You said relationship means to be completely in contact with another, right? I ask, does it mean physically? Which means sensuously, sex. Or does it mean psychologically, inwardly in contact with you, with another, completely? Right? Which do you mean? All that you said. Physically, sensuously, sexually, and inwardly too, which means no division. Right? Not Mr. Joe, Miss X. It is. So there is no division psychologically. Agree? So where there is division, there is no relationship. Right? If I go my way, and my wife goes, or my friend or my girlfriend goes another way, not physically, but emotionally, imaginatively, religiously, she believes in Catholicism. I don't. I am a Buddhist or a cranky something or other, and she isn't.
Then there is no relationship.
There is no relationship. She is ambitious, I am ambitious. Is there a relationship?
If both of us are ambitious?
She is ambitious for herself, and I am ambitious to become a great painter, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Well, have I contact with her? No. So there is no contact if we are different religions. Just let it go slowly. I may be Catholic, she may be a Catholic, but yet there is division. Huh? Right? Agree to that?
If I am a Catholic and my wife is Catholic,
There is no division.
there is no division.
Huh?
Is that what you're saying?
We think there is no division. Right? That's clear, you did? Come on, sir. If I'm a Protestant and she's Catholic, there's trouble. But if we belong to the same cult, but I believe a bit more than she does. Right? My Jesus is greater than her Jesus. Or he has greater Savior than mine. So belief is a dividing factor.
Yeah.
Right? So I cannot have complete psychologically contact with her in relationship if there is belief between us. Huh?
What do you mean complete contact?
We say complete kind, physically, psychologically, in every way.
Well, just because just because there's trouble, does that mean that there's not contact?
If I have trouble, if I have problems, and she hasn't, can I have contact with her?
Well, you do have contact with her. I mean, look, I live with these people every day, right? And if I don't get along with some of them,
No, I
it
didn't say
means that
get
our
along.
relationship
Just listen to
disappears.
what I said. I said, oh, I don't like to repeat. Just listen. She is a Catholic, I'm a Protestant, right? She is American, I'm a Zulu, barbarian. You know what the word barbarian means? It comes from the old Greeks and Romans. Those who did not speak the same language. That is Latin or Greek. Or also it means those who are not within the empire. Roman Empire, or within the state, Greek states, Sparta, Athens, and so on. As long as they belong to a state, they are not barbarian and speak the same language. But if they are outside the state, outside the empire, and do not speak the same language, they are barbarians. That's just a side explanation of barbarous. I looked up that word very carefully in several dictionaries. So, can I have contact wholly with another who is worship of Mrs. Thatcher and bring it home, and I am not?
You can't.
Huh? God. Right?
How do you know if the contact is complete, though?
I'll tell you, we said contact means, according to him, not only physical contact, but complete psychological contact. Complete in the sense, no division in my relationship with other. What's the difference?
I don't understand. I'm afraid I don't understand what you mean when you say a complete psychological relation, a complete psychological.
There is no such thing, I'm saying. He says that is it. I'll explain. Complete contact means psychologically no division. Right?
Okay.
That's all.
Well, okay.
Not okay.
Well, see, the thing is that we're taking that as our definition, and then we're going around and saying
No,
that
I'm not.
again.
It's not definition. We are asking. He asked, the original question was, what role does thought play in relationship, right? I said, what do you mean by that word relationship? And he said, complete contact with another. Right? He said that.
Did you say complete contact? Or did
Yes.
you say
Yes.
contact?
Yes, darling.
Yes.
And I said, what do you mean complete contact? And we went into it, we said, as long as there is a division psychologically, you understand, inwardly, there cannot be complete contact. If I am going one way and she is going the other way, but we meet in bed, that's not complete contact. Right?
Right.
If she is ambitious, I am ambitious in my way, and she is ambitious in her way, there's no contact.
there may be some contact, but it's superficial.
I don't, look, we said complete contact. Don't introduce the word superficial.
I think Katie is trying to say that we may still disagree about things or go different ways.
Then we tolerate each other.
Yes.
My God. You tolerate your wife? What are you people talking about? I'm not, I'm trying to show, please forgive me for pointing out, there is no, at present, complete contact with another, as long as there is division, that's all. Right? Not,
Yes.
you agree?
Okay.
You're sure
Yes, yes.
that as long as there is a division in any way, psychologically, inwardly, there is no relationship. I don't use the word complete.
Yes, if relationship is complete contact, yes.
Yeah. So as long as I'm jealous of somebody, as long as I'm pursuing my own ambition, my own greed, my own this, and she is doing the same thing in her way, there is no relationship. Agree?
Yes.
So I'm pointing out that as long as there is division between us, there is no relationship. And neither superficial nor deep. There may be sexual responses, but that's, you follow, that's something. All right. Now we ask, what is the role thought plays in relationship? We have defined into what is relationship, right? Now we're going to question, what is thought? Right? We went to it very, very carefully the other day. We'll go into it again. We said thought is limited because all experience is limited. Right? And you see that. That's a fact. There is no experience that is complete, full, ending. So experience is limited, and from experience there is knowledge. Therefore, knowledge will always be incomplete. We agree. You can see it. Science has been more or less functioning for the last 2,000 to 3,000 years more. Galileo said the earth is, no, the church, Roman Catholic Church said the whole universe turns around the earth. Galileo said no, the earth goes round. And they were going to torture him, but they said, all right. He accepted. You would do the same, and I would do the same. But science has come along saying, Galileo, you are right. Right? Gradual accumulation of knowledge. Right? Clear? So knowledge is being added to more and more and more. Right? Therefore, it's limited. Agree? Knowledge is always limited, whether in the past or in the future. Agree? And so, knowledge is memory. Right? Agree to that? Do you see that? Without memory, there is no knowledge. So, experience, right? Knowledge, memory, right? Have you listened to all this? I don't have to repeat umpteen times. It's obvious. Experience. From experience there is knowledge. That knowledge is always limited because experience is limited. And memory. Memory is limited. From memory, thought arises. If there is no memory, there is no thought. Right? Are you quite sure?
Yes.
I study biology, and I've accumulated a lot of information, so-called knowledge, right? And that knowledge is limited. From that, I begin to think biologically, right? Now, he asks, what role has thought in relationship? Right? We said what relationship is. Right? Now we said what thought is. Right? Are you getting tired? If you are tired, let's stop. Are you tired?
No.
But you're not. You should be tired. If you are thinking actively as we are doing, your brain must be confused, rattled. Let's finish it. So, he's asked, what role does thought play in relationship? We said relationship, there is no relationship if there is division. You agree to all that. What causes the division? Thought. Just watch it carefully. We made very clear what is relationship, right? We made very clear, we clarified what thought is, right? And we said thought is limited. Whether it is the scientist's thought, or the Pope's thought, or the Prime Minister's thought, or your thought, or anybody's thought, whether the Eastern thought or the Western thought, thought is always limited. And he asks, what role has thought in relationship? We say that thought has created the division in relationship. I want to be a great man, and she doesn't. Wanting to be a great man is the movement of thought. Right? And she said, for God's sake, I want to live a very simple life. And also, her wanting simple life is also the activity of thought. Right? Right? Are you following all this? So, thought has brought about the division in relationship psychologically. Right?
So seeing that, it has no role.
Huh?
So seeing that, thought
now,
is limited.
Therefore, to have complete or to have a relationship, I won't use a relationship that is deep, fundamental, law, thought has no place in relationship. If thought has a role in relationship, it breeds division, conflict. Right? Right? Have you such a relationship in which thought doesn't play? Huh? Have you? Have you? Of course you haven't. So find out. Don't say yes, thought plays part in my relationship. Go into it, break it up. Don't say yes, that's natural, that's inevitable, that is, you follow? But find out. Move from there.
Well, thought is all we have. How can we move?
Look, I'll tell you. Do you see the truth of this?
Well, that's...
Truth, no, not just idea, or the theory or the explanation, but do you see the truth that there is division in relationship, and thought, which is limited, has created this division, and therefore conflict and all the rest of it. So you see that. That's the fact, that's the truth. Right? If you see that is dangerous, you do something. You don't say yes, all right. When you meet a dangerous snake, you move away from it. You do something. Here, apparently, you don't. This is much more dangerous than a snake. Much more dangerous than the politicians.
Well, if I saw it that way, I'd move.
What?
If I saw it that way, then it was much more dangerous than a poisonous snake, I'd do something about it. But at the moment, I don't see it that way.
Why? After all this explanation, you don't see it. No, you're quite right, sir. None of us don't. You're right. Stick to it. We don't see tribalism is a danger, right? Nationalism is a poison. We don't see that. I'm British, I'm French.
Well, we can see it up to a certain point.
No. If you see it, don't be French. Don't be British, or American, or Hindu, or whatever it is. Have a passport, though. Careful. That's what I mean. If you see something to be true, don't put away the false. Don't be argue who sees it. I'll come to that later. But see, if something is true, then the false has no place. If you see nationalism, tribalism, which is now becoming popular more and more, is colossally dangerous, right? Because it's going to breed war. And you say, no, I won't belong to any tribe. Not that you'll affect the war, but you won't belong to any tribe. You understand the difference? You are doing the right thing.
Just now he said, thought is all we have. He said, thought is all we have. I question whether that is so.
I never said thought.
Ken said that just now.
Yes.
I know he said that, but I didn't want to take him up with it because it is not the right occasion, because we are pursuing one thing. Right? Do you see the false as false? Nationalism is false. Because false in the sense, it is not, it has nothing in it. Just words.
I don't see that nationalism is false.
You don't see nationalism as poison? I
Well,
belong, just a minute, I belong to this little island, right?
Yeah.
Huh? I'm British. And across, 22 miles across, there, French. A little further north, Dutch, German, Norway, all saying we are, in other words, they are holding on to tribalism, right? And tribalism invariably brings wars. That's all. If you like wars to kill others and be killed, all right. But if you see the danger of this, right, you say, sorry, it's out. There is no effort, there is no what am I to do, how tell me what to do. You say, that's danger, I won't go near it. Right? Are you doing that? No, that's just it. We see danger and we do nothing. What's wrong with you? If you see a snake, dangerous snake, and you step on it, and you say, I don't care, it's all right. All right, that's one way of living.
You're dying.
Yeah, that's right, you die. It's all right. But see that snake danger and move. So what's wrong with you when you see danger and not move? Which means you don't really see the danger of nationalism. Because you are so conditioned, so programmed like a computer, you repeat. I'm a Hindu, I'm a German, I'm a Swiss, and it's getting awfully difficult to get passports to all these places.
So are you saying thought, which is limited, clouds our perception?
That's right. At last. So it wants clearly no prejudice, no opinion, no conclusion. Don't be biased. Don't have any bias. That's very simple. If you want to sit, if you don't, then you bring up all the reasons. Fortunately, at least you listen to this, right? Perhaps it'll enter into your brain sometime. Talk to the Pope or to Mr. Thatcher or to the politicians, they won't say it. They won't even let you come near. In the old days, they would have burnt you. And that's the end of it. I think we better stop, don't you? Huh? You're tired. All right. Sorry, may I get up?